Hello everyone and welcome to Madden 25 franchise mode. Now why am I playing a Madden game from like 7 or 8 years ago? Well, that's because this game has a feature that obviously hasn't been in any of the newer games, and that is where you can import a draft class from NCAA Football 14, and then the game will automatically create the prospects and you can scout them and draft them and see where they end up. And I think that this series is going to be mostly like a complement series to my Carolina Atlantic University Drakes series, which is on NCAA 14. And I think it's going to be really cool to see how the storylines of our players, the players we play against, and all the other players in the college football league, how their stories end up. So for this series, I was originally planning on playing all the games, but I don't think I'm going to be doing that. I think instead what we're going to do with this series is make it a simulation style series where we go through multiple weeks in an episode, mostly focusing on developing our players, signing new players, going to the off season, the draft, preparing for the draft, scouting, that kind of stuff, which I think is going to be actually better for this to make it so I have, two different styles of series rather than doing both where I play the games in each episode. So let's get into the beginning. So as you've been seeing on screen, we took over the Redskins because they don't exist anymore in real life. So we're gonna move them to Houston and bring back the Oilers, actually, because this game has the exact same relocation teams as are in Madden 21. So that's kind of ridiculous, but there's not a lot of choice back here, and there's not really a lot of choice in the newer games. So now on screen, I'm just showing you some of the settings I'm going to be using for this series, as well as some of the sliders. Again, we're not playing the games. I was originally planning on doing that, but maybe in the future we will be playing some of the games here. Maybe if we make it to the playoffs, I'll do that, but these games are mostly going to be simulated. But just in case you wanted to see any of the settings that I'm using or any of the sliders, you can just watch this portion. The most important part of this is that we are turning on the relocation settings so that we can move our team from Washington to Houston. And then also there is the player progression. Player progression in this game kind of strange. You kind of just get a lot of XP for playing a lot of playing time. So we'll have to experiment with that, but I set it to every 4 weeks. So hopefully the CPU upgrades players, not just randomly or by the same way every single time. Now that we are done with that, we can move into relocating our team. So we will be moving away from Washington, and the first thing will be choosing the city. We are going to Houston, and the only team you can choose, or actually you can choose the Gunners or the Voyagers. These team logos are just, I don't know, I've seen them so many times and they're not really that exciting or interesting. But here's the most important part of this series. We can import our draft class from season 1 of our Drakes series. So let's load that guy in here. Now we are on to choosing our uniform. We can only choose the old default uniforms, but I think they look okay. Now we can build our stadium. The stadium design in this game is still the exact same, I'm pretty sure, to the day. So the same stadiums you're gonna find in the newer Maddens are here, and I believe we go with the deluxe traditional. And now that our draft class is loaded in, we can see the top prospect is Lance Anderson, the quarterback from Georgia. Just kind of showing you that the draft class was imported correctly. And now we are going through the season. We're already at week number 11. We're not really going to focus on season number 1 because I really just want to get to the offseason and the draft. We declined London Fletcher. He's like 39 in this game, I think. So we really want to build around some young players. But Brian Arakpo at 96 overall at 27. He's definitely a player that can be a cornerstone for us. So let's try to re-sign him here. We're going to bump up some of his salary demands. Just really want to make sure he gets signed here. He's desiring 43 over 5 years, but I think we knock it down to 4 years and just see how that works. And he does end up accepting that, so we have a stud on our defense And now we have some other players. Santana Moss, I think we don't re-sign him. And we have Josh Wilson, who I think we're going to come back to later. Aldrick Robinson, no real interest in him. But Josh Wilson is not requiring a lot of money, and at 78 overall, he'll be pretty okay with us with 93 speed, so definitely want to try to keep him around and give him a 2-year deal with not a lot of money maybe. So we're going to try this 1 year, 1.7, and he ends up accepting that. So here's Josh Morgan, another receiver. We probably are going to want to build with through the draft with receivers. And then kicker is not something that I want to worry about in year number 1. Not going to use a draft pick on a kicker, so I'm going to try to assign Forbath here, and he's not requiring a lot in demands. He only wants 660. We're going to bump that up to 100K just to try to get him signed right now. And then we have Brandon Merriweather. He's a 73 overall safety. I think we can do better with that. We're not going to sign him. Another receiver, Briscoe, not going to sign him. Perry Riley at middle linebacker, not going to bother. A lot of these like mid-70s players, I know we can do better either in the offseason or in the draft. And Kai Forbath does not sign with us, so we're going to bump it up by 50K, and hopefully he signs that. He doesn't, so we have to bump it up again. I really don't want to draft a kicker or worry about trying to sign one. So 800K is the offer, and he ends up accepting that one. So now on to staff signing. Our scout specialist right now is halfback ball carrier vision. That is the most useless specialty, so he is going to be gone. Bronson Bennett, see you later. And then Theo Henderson. This is what I've never understood at Madden, is that the trainer, all you get is a little thing that says regression bad. So he is also going to be gone. And we have to sign an entire coaching staff. So the top coach available is Jimmy Johnson. But let's look for a scout right now. And Ray Garland here has offense overall as his scouting specialty. So that's pretty enticing. A lot of these guys have weird ones like QB injury, running back physical. Like, I don't know why you would ever need these scouted, but to get the entire offense overall, that's just too valuable. So we're gonna put a lot of money on him. 200K over 3 years. Let's see if he signs that. And then a trainer. We're basically just looking for world class at this point. Why would you ever go anything under? This game makes it so easy to just sign a trainer. 100K over 3 years. Or 100K per year, I don't know. And then for head coach, this is where it gets a little more interesting. We have some coaches with some progression boosts down here. Gus Bradley, he has player progression for running back, tackle, linebacker. I think we're going to go with him. We could sign Rex Ryan or Marvin Lewis, but Gus Bradley has those 3 positions that are going to benefit us, so we're going to try to sign him. And we end up signing Gus Bradley and our trainer. We didn't get a scout, so he rejected us. He went to Denver to go scout for them, so now we need another scout. And we're going to have to fall back on Hayden Forrest, who is for the offensive line overall. So that's 5 different positions, starting positions, so that's going to be valuable for us. But the San Diego Chargers, they end up winning the Super Bowl in year number 1, defeating Jay Cutler and the Bears, as Danny Woodhead had 100 yards, Keenan Allen with 86 yards and a touchdown. Defense, DJ Williams had 14 tackles, 1 TFL. Only 3 TFLs in the entire game. That's kind of weird. only 2 sacks, 1 by each team. No interceptions in this game. Couple of forced fumbles by Chicago, but I guess the turnovers didn't work out for them. So let's look at the yearly awards for year number 1. Or mostly year number 0, I guess, since we're not really playing this one. Russell Wilson wins MVP with Pete Carroll getting Coach of the Year. Jamal Charles is the Offensive Player of the Year. Von Miller, the Defensive Player. E.J. Manuel, the Rookie of the Year. And Kiko Alonso is the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Peyton Manning with Best Quarterback. Jamal Charles. Wes Welker. Cordy Glenn. Send Derek Marks on the 1-14 Jags. Stephon Gilmore and Matt Prater round off your AFC awards. Marshawn Lynch, Darrell Washington, Eddie Lacy, Tyrann Mathieu, Russell Wilson on the 16-0 Seahawks, and they didn't even make the Super Bowl. That's kind of heartbreaking, I guess. Here's the rest of the players who won the award. And now we can go on to retirements. These are just players that were in the game who will not be for season number 1. Not a lot of big names here, but some players from our team retire. And Michael Vick retires. I guess that's the biggest name so far. Adam Vinatieri, who I don't think didn't retire for like another 7 years in real life. And then we have 2 head coaches retiring, Mike Shanahan and Tom Coughlin. And now we can move on to our last chance to re-sign some players. You can see we have a lot of players who we rejected. But we have Hall at corner, Barnett at linebacker. We have a safety left, and then also Jackson and Tapp and Baker. So let's start off from the bottom. We're just going to end negotiations with Baker, a low 70s defensive end. We can do better. And then also the same is for Tapp at linebacker, only 73 overall. So now we have some more highly rated players. We're going to end negotiations on Jackson. We just signed Rakpo, so don't need 2 outside linebackers really. We have Gums, the safety. I think we're going to try to re-sign him. He's 26, 79 overall. He should be okay for us for a few years. And let's give him exactly what he wants, 3.8 over 3. And he ends up signing, because I don't see him on this list, which means he signed. Now we can look at linebacker, Barnett. We're going to end negotiations there. And then we have Hall at cornerback. He's 30 years old. Wants $4 million for 1 year. I think that's going to be maybe a little too steep, but let's see if we can kind of give him a low ball offer here. Try to sign him for $5 million over 2 years should be what we can afford. I don't really expect him to take that, and he doesn't. He'll go to free agency. So we end up getting Gums, and then Hall declines. So now we're on to free agency, and just for this first season, I'm just going to be recapping our free agency instead of going at it week by week. So we end up signing Captain Munnerlyn, 26 years old, 88 overall. He is our key free agent signing. We got him to a 4-year deal. And then we have Kluwe, a punter, 83 overall. We have Franklin, a defensive tackle at 82. We got Charles Woodson, 82, just for a temporary fix for free safety. Another defensive tackle, McDaniels. We got Emmanuel Sanders at receiver, as well as Ted Ginn to temporarily fix our receiver situation. We got linebacker, and then McLean at corner, and then the rest of these players were just kind of filling up the backup needs. We got Barkley at defensive or right tackle, I mean. Then we got Watson, Byrne, and don't know how to say that name. Just kind of backup players at this point. And here's some of the key free agent signings around the league. So here are some of the high overall players going to new teams, but with the end of free agency, The next stop is the draft, which will be in the next episode, where we're going to look where all of our players from year number 1 of the Drake's Dynasty mode are coming in, where they're going. I think it's going to be really cool. Hope you guys enjoyed this first episode. I will catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.